Hello, Juan. Hello, Mayra.
Good evening, teacher.
How are you doing with your work?
So far, so good. Improving.
Good. What about your baby?
Oh, sometimes he's there with me watching the classes. And my husband is not working, so he's helping me a lot with him.
Well, that's good. Hello, Leonardo.
Hello, and the teacher.
Hello, Juan. Did you guys watch the videos?
Yes, teacher. I saw it.
Yes, teacher.
Yeah? Okay, good. We will have a short talk about the topics or the information that you watched in the videos. Who is here? Hello, Hugo.
Hello, teacher. Good evening.
Good evening. Okay, well, did you have the time to watch the video?
Yes.
Okay, good. So we will start by working on some vocabulary related to the topics of the videos that you watched. And then we will have a discussion about the information in the videos. And then we will have a review of active voice, passive voice connected to the information that you watched in the videos and a reading exercise. Right, so you see on the screen some pictures that are connected to the topic of the virus. So what word would you use, Leonardo, to label this picture?
To to cough,
Okay, good. Hugo, the other word, the other picture.
the cough, the cough spreads on the air.
Okay, those are droplets. Droplets, which are those particles that we spread in the air when we cough or when we sneeze. Right? The action is sneeze and the particles are droplets.
Yes.
Good. Now, Juan, what's the name of this part of the arm? Or what's this what that we see here, the other picture? We can hear you, Juan.
And now can you hear
Okay,
me?
yes.
Yeah, the second one is fever.
Okay, good. And the first one, Mayra, you know?
No, teacher, I don't remember.
Okay,
I
that's
was elbow.
the bend of your elbow.
Oh, okay.
So we're supposed to cough or sneeze on the bend of our elbows, right? Good. Hugo, what's this picture about? What word would you use to label it?
Breathing.
Yes, the verb is breathe.
Breathe. Yes.
And the other one, Hugo?
Mask? No.
Yeah, that's a
Yes,
mask. It's a face mask.
face mask.
Okay, good. Mayra, what is this picture about? What word would you use to label it?
Keep the distance.
Uh-huh. And for the other picture?
Test.
Yes, those are tests. Okay. Good. Then we have these two. Juan?
Mm, hand washing. I don't know, hand wash.
Uh-huh. And the other one?
Mm. I don't know. No greet with your hands. no, no greeting with your hands. I don't know.
Can I?
Leonardo?
Don't catch the hands.
Okay, don't touch others' hands. Or Juan said, don't greet with your hands. The verb is shake hands. Shake hands. So don't shake hands. Henry, welcome.
Hello, teacher.
We are like labeling some pictures related to the videos that I asked you guys to watch.
Yeah.
Okay, so Mayra, what do we have here?
The first one, I don't know, stay at home.
Okay. And the other one?
Well, don't go out. Don't go outside.
Down, maybe.
Then what? You know what is the word for this object?
Lock.
Exactly.
Lock.
So
Lockdown.
the
Lockdown.
verb, exactly, that's the verb, lockdown. Good. And Henry, what word would you use for this picture to label it?
Examinations.
A test.
Or a test. Yep.
And this one?
That one could be cleaning. Yep, cleanings.
Clean. Okay. The other one is sanitize.
Sanitary, yep.
Sanitize. Okay. Leonardo, these two?
Special emergency areas.
Okay. That's also a temporary hospital. And the other one?
A lot of pills.
Okay, good. Finally, Hugo. If we have doctors, nurses, and we have a hospital, and we have devices to take care of people, and we have all that is a what?
Health entities.
Health, well, health system. Okay, and the other one we have here, contact tracing, right? Contact tracing. Okay, so I ask you to watch some videos about China and South Korea's measures to deal with the virus. And I would like you guys to take turns to mention the measures that you remember that were effective in those places, what those people or those governments did to deal with the virus.
May I,
Because,
teacher?
Leonardo?
Okay, the Korean government has been has been had
Successful?
successful because they they have the last experience. I think thorough experience with the another coronavirus called SARS.
Uh-huh.
Yes, because the last in 2015, I think from 2015, the SARS came from the Arabia, the Arabia, the Arabia,
Yes.
but they 15 days after they said that, that this virus is not a threat. Yes, it's no longer a threat. Yes, in that
Uh-huh.
time, and they paid expensive price. Yes,
Yes, the previous virus, the one that you mentioned that was MERS,
and
killed a lot
but
of people, right?
yes, teacher, excuse me.
Uh-huh.
Yes,
And
and they established thinking about, but they fixed this this problem, this lack of attention, uh, trusting trusting the person who who had that the symptoms of
uh-huh.
the fever, etc. And they applied this in this moment. They, for example, they recover the dates. So if they give to all the people in Korea tracing map an app, so you watch in your screen in yourself, and you see the parts of the city or parts of the country where you can you can pass a border, an imaginary border. So have they have controlled the the virus, the the virus. Yes. So so they gave to another country like Colombia, like United States. Yes. But they
Uh-huh.
say that the problem is maybe in countries with bigger population, longer population, it's more difficult to apply this this
That solution.
that solution.
Okay, very good, Leonardo.
Thank you.
Who else remembers other measures taken in South Korea?
In South Korea, they took a lot of tests to many people, and so that avoid more people got infected. They took tests to asymptomatic people. That is one of the dangerous phases in the virus.
Uh-huh. Very good. Who else remembers other measures? Or
They have invested a lot of time and money in order to get the I don't know how to say, but the correct a statistic about how is the coronavirus affected North Korean, sorry, South Korean people.
uh-huh. Okay, what about China? What measures did they take?
Teacher, as we know, teacher was the I forgot to say the epicenter of the virus, yeah, and they try to hide that by um, at the end at the in the yeah in the end they couldn't. So, but they took a dramatic measure that was um, to lock down this the region where the this body could or where this body I don't know what to say where was born,
Affected?
yeah, where the
Okay.
started, where the
Or,
virus started, yeah,
uh-huh.
and they locked down all the region and then other regions do the same, yeah. Another um, strategy was that they, as Mayra said in South Korea, they took text and free text, what United States didn't do. For example, in China, even when people didn't have the virus, they didn't have to pay anything. Yeah,
Uh-huh.
they control uh, with a lot of text. Yeah, and they build a um, a hospital network, a big hospital network. For example, they about the medicine, they didn't want they didn't want all people to go out, so they how can I say they created like a system to provide the prescriptions, the medicine, yeah.
Yeah.
And as we know, they created temporary hospitals, yeah, in a very short time. The key for them was the speed. Even when they at the beginning of the outbreak, at the beginning of the outbreak, they didn't control that, but after they were so speed, very speed to control. And now, oh, according to the video, when it was created, I don't know that March last month, they in some days they didn't have a virus outbreak.
Uh-huh. Yes. Okay. Something else that you remember about the videos, other measures?
Teacher, about at the first SARS, about 50,000 person were infected.
Uh-huh.
Another thing, teacher, about or about China was that all the organization joined to this problem, yeah, and yeah, they unieron esfuerzos. I don't know to say
Joint
in English.
efforts.
Joint efforts. Yeah.
Teacher,
Yes.
the shutdown in South Korea wasn't aggressive. Uh,
Yes.
thanks, thanks to the strategies that they developed. Um, as Leonardo and Maya say, uh, the, a lot of diagnostic tests and the contact trace are the two strategies that they develop.
Another teacher important thing about China is that they were the first to know the virus, yeah, and they have more experience that other countries in the world. And Yeah, and as they have been the the first to face to deal with this virus, they have advantages because they know more about the virus, and they has and it has allowed to control it.
Well, but I guess it's, well, I disagree with that. The video mentioned that, but I disagree with the with the statement. I think it's not because they were the first, but because they acted fast. Maybe if that happened here, if we had been the first to face the problem or to face the virus, their reaction would have been different. It is because they acted fast, and maybe because they had faced other uh, outbreaks before, so they that so different cultures. So as you mentioned, they join efforts. Uh, they are very strict. So if they are told not to do something, they really do it.
Uh, However, teacher, we can't deny that China is a great country. They have a lot of resources, and that is an advantage too.
Exactly. So they are able to build temporary hospitals very fast. They have the
Uh,
money to do so.
they act fast, but they acted immediately because, as we have seen and the video says, they punished doctors who talked about it. After, because of the resources, the money, they could act fast, but at the beginning, the situation wasn't easy.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think based on my viewpoint, um, I think that China is, as we already know, is a big country. Um, they have more advantages in medicines, everything in some cases. But I think that coronavirus, the treatment, the right treatment in order to avoid that virus again is to stay at home. Yeah, that is the best. We don't we don't have to expect until everybody is contaminated with it. You know, the best part is stay at home and okay, prepare or everything in order to stay at home at least 15 minutes, 15 days or maybe more. But Colombian people, they don't understand that. They don't get the the reason why this only this case this virus coronavirus is affecting and um, affecting so many lives in the world. You know,
We
sometimes the culture is different. The Colombian people, they say, "Oh no, it is a flu. It is just a flu. It's not dangerous." But we thought that because we have been raised with that knowledge in some cases. Yeah, so
so
that's why.
one cause could be the lack of knowledge,
Yeah,
but the other cause is that we have a lot of people who earn money to live on a daily basis, so they
yeah.
cannot stay home. Yes. What else do you guys remember, or what other reflections you have about those videos?
Teacher, uh, I have a list. I have it.
You had it, but
I
now
took
but
no,
it disappeared.
I took a list on my data. So oh my God.
Teacher,
Oh,
the importance of the diagnostic test is very important
uh-huh.
because when China reported the first cases, the government, the South Korea's government, uh, started working to develop many tests for the COVID-19.
Yeah.
And soon they had many thousand test kits.
Uh-huh. Yeah, that and the app that they use. So people get the information in their cell phones. They know where the virus is because they have used a lot of tests. So that's why they are able to say the person who was diagnosed positive went to this place and then moved to this place and then moved to this other place. So people in the apps can see the places where the person was and can prevent to go to those places or move to that area.
Teacher, the the very first beginning said uh, the countries didn't shoot down the virus curve. Anything shoot down is get down.
Yes, it's the same as lockdown. Yeah, but it didn't happen in China, right? They detected the virus and they locked the place where it started. They locked down the place where it started very fast. So it helped to prevent the spread of the virus. Good. Now look at these sentences and tell me what is the similarity in terms of structure.
Past simple.
Yes, Juan. All the sentences have verbs in past simple. So we are going to review how to change sentences that are in past simple in an active voice to a passive voice. But only sentences. Today we will review only that topic for sentences that have verbs in past simple, right? So here we have the first sentences are the passive voice sentences or the ones that we have here. What do you notice? What is the rule?
What is the rule to turn
Yes,
from a
from active voice to passive voice.
mm, in passive voice teacher? The most important is like the object, no?
Exactly. So this is called the object, the green one. So in passive voice, we put the object first. And then
Verb to be
yes,
past.
then the verb to be in past according to the object. If the object is singular, we have was. If the object is plural, we have were. What is the other part of the rule? So we have the object first, then we have the past form of the verb to be, and
The past participle.
then we have the past participle of the main verb in an active voice sentence. What happens here is that the past participle is the same as the past form for these verbs. But this is the past participle. And then what's the other part of the rule? The object first, the past form of the verb to be, the past participle of the main verb, and
Subject?
no.
No.
Here the
Complement?
subject is in purple, but here we don't have a subject.
Like the complement.
The complement that is the blue one. So in passive voice, the people who made the action is not important, so we cannot mention it. Or we can mention it by using by. Patients with illnesses different to COVID-19 were sent their medicines for 3 months by the Chinese government. It's not necessary to understand the whole sentence. It's optional. The subject in the doer of the action in passive voice sentences. Good. Now we are going to practice. So we need to put the verb that is in brackets in the correct form to complete the sentences. The sentences are in passive voice.
Can I start or
Okay,
you?
Henry, please start.
Okay, test kits were used.
Okay. Good. Right? So we don't have the person who makes the action. We have the object first. The verb to be, past, the participle, the past participle of the main verb, and the complement. Good.
Teacher, that in Spanish is like como que se usaron.
Fueron usados. Yep.
Because
Translation, yes, se usaron.
yeah, because we don't in Spanish we don't at the beginning we don't use like a subject. Yeah,
Exactly.
that's why I that's why we have to use a passive voice to translate into English.
Yes, so the translation will be as you mentioned. Se usaron kits de exámenes para detectar los casos asintomáticos tan pronto como empezó el brote. So we will start with the verb in the translation into Spanish. Good. Mayra, could you please complete the gaps? Or Hugo?
Can I do it, teacher?
Yes, Mayra.
Okay. People's data and security footage were collected as part of South Korea's law to limit the amount of infections.
Exactly. Again, we don't have a subject or the doer of the action. We don't know who collected the data in the sentence. Okay. Next one, Hugo.
Contact data was traced to prevent healthy people to cross paths with an infected person.
Uh-huh. So we don't have a doer of the action in that case. We can infer that it's South Koreans.
Yeah.
Okay, this one, Leonardo.
Infected people moves were traced
Exactly.
with technology.
Uh-huh. Good. We don't know who traced the moves. Okay, next one, Juan Pablo.
Technology was used to check infected people's moves in order to prevent cross their paths.
Moves.
Moves.
Okay. We don't know who used the technology. In the sentence, we don't mention that. Okay, next one, Henry.
Okay. The information the person diagnosed with COVID-19 was compiled in websites and private apps, and then it was checked by the Koreans.
Uh-huh. We don't know, or the sentence doesn't mention who compiled the information, and the sentence does mention who checked. I know, yes, mentions it because we have by the Koreans. Okay, then we have this one. Leonardo, please.
What measures were taken in China, the cities that had COVID-19 cases? What should the cities that had COVID-19 cases lock down?
It's missing something.
Shut down? What measures were taken in China?
Remember the structure, the object, and then all this is the object of the sentence.
Locked down?
Lockdown is the past participle, yes, of the verb, but before the past participle of the verb, we have what? We need a
Was
word
locked
here.
down? Was
Exactly.
locked down?
Uh-huh.
Or was or
We have
where
where.
were locked down? Were locked down?
Exactly.
Were locked down?
Good. Yes, the active voice will be Chinese, for example, government. Lock down the cities that had COVID cases. But in the active voice, in the passive voice, we don't mention the doer, we mention the object first.
Yeah. Mhm.
Okay, let's move to this one. Hugo.
China health care system was
Exactly.
re- relocated
Uh-huh.
to respond to the coronavirus outbreak.
Right. As they didn't have the virus in all the country, they moved doctors and the devices and the machines and all they needed to the area that was infected. That's reallocate. Okay, this one, Mayra.
New facilities were built specifically for patients with COVID-19 to keep them isolated.
Okay. In this case, we need the T for the verb, right? Because it's the past participle. Uh-huh. All right. Let's see this one. Juan Pablo.
Patients with illnesses different to COVID-19 were sent their medicine for 3 months.
Yes. And finally, Henry, we can hear. Okay.
Patients with COVID-19 were isolated.
Uh-huh. Good. Okay. Oh, we have one more. Hugo.
A high number of aggressive testing were carried out.
Okay, but we have a high number, which is singular.
Okay, was carried out.
Uh-huh.
Teacher, how can we link carried out? Yeah, when we have the past.
Link it in the pronunciation.
Yeah.
Yeah, carried out.
Okay.
Just pronounce it faster. Let's say carried out. Okay. See, that was yes. So as you've seen maybe in the news, I guess you've seen it different times. There are some countries that uh, have had a high rate of cases. So South Korea was able to blend the curve, but United States, Spain, Italy, they were not able to do it. Why? Why do you think those countries, uh, what do you think they did wrong? What do you think happened in Spain and Italy?
Teacher, I think that people didn't didn't take it seriously the virus.
Uh-huh.
I think, teacher, that they didn't act at the beginning of the outbreak.
They didn't take enough tests.
What else do you think happened there?
They weren't prepared.
Maybe they were more worried about economics than people's health.
Yeah, economy was first at the expense of people's health.
Any other idea?
Also maybe discipline, because people in China and South Korea, Asian countries, they have more discipline. And that's why maybe the lockdown was not aggressive, as Hugo said. Other countries, there are many young people and they do whatever they want, so they didn't respect the lockdown.
Uh-huh.
And they took decisions late, very late. For example, they closed the airports.
Any other idea? Okay, we will read which and see and find out from an article which of your presuppositions are true. We will take turns to read it. Okay, Mayra, could you please start?
COVID-19, what went wrong in Italy and Spain. Nations with highest death tolls share deadly combination of optimism and late detection.
Okay, could you continue, Mayra, please?
Teacher, can you zoom in a little bit, please?
Yes.
Thank you.
Uh-huh.
Okay. Although the pressure on Italian and Spanish hospitals is slow beginning to ease, Spain and Italy remain the world's two worst hit countries by the COVID-19 pandemic so far.
Continue
Toge-
till the end, please.
Okay. Together, the two Mediterranean countries account for around 40% of the total global COVID-19 deaths, with the disease having claimed some 31,000 lives in the two countries in less than 2 months. Around 200,000 cases, many of them severe, remain active in both states.
Okay, thank you. Juan Pablo, could you continue, please?
There is no doubt that the two countries share several characteristics: highly social citizens, fair weather, densely populated cities, physically affectionate social interactions, and large elderly populations. Yes, as both witness the overwhelming influx of COVID-19 patients begin to subside, it is now clear that timely government action could have potentially saved thousands of lives.
Okay. Henry, could you continue?
Unfortunately, overconfidence was another trait shared by the governments of Spain and Italy in the critical weeks leading up to COVID-19 explosions. Authorities in both countries underestimated just how fast the virus could spread and how quickly it could push their healthcare systems to the verge of collapse. It took
Continue.
about 3 weeks from the time Italy discovered its first coronavirus case on September 21st to the closure of all non-essential business and a national ban of necessary movement by the public.
Okay. Hugo, please continue.
Italy's failures, partially justified by the unprecedented nature of the event, happened despite the successful policies to contain the pandemic already used in countries such as China, South Korea, and Singapore.
Continue, please.
Denial. According to many observers, one of the first stumblers in the Italian response to the outbreak was its failure to recognize the magnitude of the pandemic and make decisions in real time as the crisis was unfolding.
Thank you. Leonardo?
In late February, some Italian politicians, including the leader of the center-left Democratic Party, Nicola Zingaretti, who was later infected by COVID-19, showed themselves having drinks in Milan, promoting the idea that Italy's financial hub should continue business as usual amid the virus. Yes, continue. The initial state of emergency declaration were met by skepticism by both the public and many in policy circles, even though several scientists had been warning of the potential for the catastrophe for weeks. Researchers wrote for the Harvard Business Review in late March.
Thank you. Mayra?
To further complicate what was admittedly an unprecedented crisis, Italy failed to adopt a coordinated approach to the emergency. When the first decree announcing the closing of northern Italy was issued on March 8, it sparked a massive frightened exodus to southern Italy. Ironically and inadvertently spreading the virus to other regions. In addition, the government often clashed with regional governors who were calling for a quicker and more extensive response.
Thank you. Hugo?
Mass gathering as close gathered. Spain, despite the added advantage of saying what was happening in Italy, also failed to recognize the exponential spread in the critical early weeks of the virus introduction into the country. In Spain, the first COVID-19 case was reported on January 31st.
Yes.
The first death occurred on February 13, but it was not diagnosed post-mortem until early March.
So almost 1 week later, right? 1 month later.
Yes.
Continue, please.
On March 8th, the same day, a quarantine zone was declared across much of northern Italy. The Spain government was encouraging people across the country to take to the streets for International Women's Day
Protests.
protests.
Okay. Thank you, Hugo. Leonardo?
At the time, 10 people had already died of
Died.
COVID-19. Deaths
Died.
died of COVID-19 in Spain, and 520 cases had been confirmed on the day of the massive protest. The Spanish health minister held a press conference telling people to stay home if they were feeling ill.
Ill.
ill. In Madrid, Spain, hardest hit region, 1,200, yes,
120,000.
120,000 people packed into the city center to support gender, gender equality. The same day, supporters gathered in crowds a larger 70,000 in dozens of other Spanish cities, as other large events like football games and political rallies continued in full force.
Okay. You read first the number before the comma, and then you say, for in this case is 60, and then the comma 1,000. In this case, the number before the comma is 120, and then 1,000. Okay. Thank you, Leonardo. And now, Henry.
Among those who joined the Women's March, three cabinet ministers from the country's left-wing coalition and the First Lady were later diagnosed with COVID-19. Irene Montero, the Minister of Equality, tested positive just 4 days later, even though the mayor of the Italian city of Bergamo described a February Champions League football match between Italy's Atalanta and Spain's Valencia as a biological bomb. Spain's government has not criticized its decision to promote the massive protest.
Thank you. Juan Pablo.
In an interview with El Correo Daily on Sunday, Fernando Grande Marlaska, Spain's interior minister, said, "This government has no reason to regret anything. Virus isn't in Spain." In late February and early March, there was no strong voice in the government warning of the seriousness of the pandemic. Fernando Simon, the epidemiologist, I don't know to
Epidemiologist.
the epidemiologist in Spanish is hard. Epidemiologist leading the Spanish government's response said in late January that Spain probably wouldn't have more than a few cases. In late February, a critical moment in the virus spread across the country. He told a press conference that the virus isn't in Spain.
Okay. Mayra.
As a result, Spain failed to stockpile medical equipment, tests, and protective gear until it was too late. Issues compounded by budget cuts to the healthcare system in the years of austerity following the 2008 financial crisis. So far, around 20,000 Spanish healthcare workers have been diagnosed with COVID-19.
Continue.
It was until the day after the women's protest that authorities claimed to have noticed a massive uptick in the spread of coronavirus. On March 10, all gatherings of more than 1,000 people were banned in cities including Madrid. Just 6 days after International Women's Day, the country was under total lockdown.
Okay. Juan Pablo.
Like in Italy, in the week of limbo between normality and full lockdown, thousands of people living in cities like Madrid fled to their second residences or hometowns to avoid being quarantined or coop, coop up in the city. On March 9th, Spanish Prime Minister Pedro Sanchez was filmed greeting people with the customary 2 kisses on the cheek, a gesture, a gesture now viewed as recklessness.
Recklessness.
Recklessness. Hardly a week later, Spain was engaged in a full-fledged war against the disease. The spread had gotten so out of control that the country imposed one of the world's strictest lockdowns on March 14th, one which will last until at least April 25th.
Uh-huh. Leonardo?
Everywhere was told to stay at home. The national government centralized the sanitary response, and the country eventually released its biggest ever financial stimulus, hoping to cushion the economic shock of the pandemic. A tale of two regions. Unlike in Spain, different regions in Italy ended up
Italy.
putting, yes, teacher, excuse me,
Italy.
Italy ended up putting in place different policies which had a clear impact on the virus spread. The most striking example was the contrast between the crisis management of Lombardy and Veneto, two neighboring regions that were hit first by the outbreak.
Uh-huh. Thank you, Hugo.
Lombardy, Italy's will wealthiest region,
Yes.
wealthiest
Fiest. Fiest.
wealthiest region,
Exactly.
it still has the green record of more than 28,300 current cases and 9,400 deaths in a population of 10 million.
Uh-huh.
Veneto fared significantly better, with about 9,900 current cases and 695 deaths in a population of about 5 million. Veneto's outcome was due to a much more extensive approach than Lombardy, based on broad testing of both symptomatic and asymptomatic cases, together with active tracing of possible positive and a strong emphasis on home diagnosis and care, which reduce the hospital's burden.
Exactly. Henry?
Experts, experts said the so-called Veneto model could have been used early on to shape both regional and central policies. That, however, happened only more than a month from the start of the outbreak. Like Lombardy, Spain quickly fell behind in testing and only had enough resources to diagnose the most severe cases of those inessential workers by the time the state of emergency began. The country now aims to follow the lead of Veneto and is devising a strategy to test the population more broadly.
Oh, exactly. Could you finish the last paragraph, please, Henry?
Unfortunately, the story is a continued one, as Italy failed to learn from Asian example and Spain in turn failed to learn from Italy. Other countries like the United States are continuing to prove how deeply an overly optimistic attitude can be in a time of global pandemic.
Okay, thank you. So here we have your predictions about what went wrong in those countries. In addition to the ones that you mentioned, which others you identified in the reading?
Politicians, they were not a good example.
Uh-huh.
Mm,
They didn't prevent, right? They didn't act. I guess they didn't believe it was real
Yeah.
or it was
Mhm.
serious.
And
What else you identify?
excuse me, the dirigents of the sports, the soccer
Yeah.
preferred the to follow with the match between Valencia and another. I can't remember to
Uh-huh.
prevent the to prevent the
Infection.
infection.
They attended teacher um, massive events.
Yes. What else?
In the test, it mentioned about the immigration
Mm,
inside Italy was one of the most important factors because the COVID-19 at the first was detected in the northeast part of Italy, and the government said, um, okay, lockdown, but instead of that, the people traveled to the southern part of Italy, and that's one of the reasons why the virus came faster than.
yeah.
Yeah.
Very good. Any other?
They took a long time to confirm the first death.
Yeah.
Month later.
But even after they knew that it was positive, they just didn't believe it was serious. They thought it was not gonna kill that amount of people and that fast. They knew it, and 3 weeks later, they were even attending massive events, as Juan Pablo mentioned. So they didn't believe it. They were, as the subtitle of the text, they were very optimistic and overconfident about it. Any other?
Not teacher.
Well, let's do a very quick exercise. is orally. We have here some sentences in active voice. You need to change them into passive voice. So what you have to do is to identify the object. So we have the subject here, the verb here, and the object. So we need to orally mention the sentence in passive voice by first identifying the object and putting it at the beginning of the sentence. So in this case will be preventive measures were taken untimely because the government felt overconfident and optimistic. Yes, Henry, please try with the second one.
Okay, so it says Spain and Italy authorities underestimated the virus's speed of spread. Okay. The virus was underestimated. Oh, wait, hold on. Hmm. I don't know, maybe the virus speed was underestimated by Spain and Italy authorities.
Yes, that's right.
Okay,
Or the virus speed of spread.
okay, got it.
Okay. Who wants to try with the next one?
Me, teacher.
Mayra.
All non-essential businesses and necessary movements were closed by the public 3 weeks after the. Oh no.
Here we have two different objects, two objects, and they are different. So all non-essential businesses were closed,
Were closed.
and the other object,
And unnecessary movements
very good.
were banned.
And the complement is because here we have two objects, all non-necessary businesses with the verb close, and unnecessary movements, which is the other object with the verb banned, were banned. Okay, who wants to try with the next one?
The successful policies using China, South Korea, and Singapore mm, weren't taken into account to contain the pandemic.
Very good. Okay, next one. Who wants to try that one?
Me, teacher.
Leonardo.
The issues of the first decree announcing the closing of northern Italy sparked a massive frightening exodus to southern Italy. The northern Italy sparked was a massive frightening exodus to southern Italy to issue of the first decree announcing.
Could you repeat, please? What is the verb? What is the verb of the sentence?
Massive frightening.
No, the verb.
Sparked.
Exactly. So once you identify the verb, what is after the verb is the object. That is what you put first.
frightening.
All this is the object.
Oh,
And then
a massive frightening exodus to southern Italy were
yes,
sparked. What
was.
was sparked
Yes.
was sparked. Uh, mm, to the northern Italy. No.
And we can say due to, debido a. O sea, el éxodo al sur fue iniciado debido a la publicación del primer decreto que anunciaba que cerraban el norte de Italia.
Okay.
Okay, who wants to try the next one?
Teacher,
Hugo.
people to massive gatherings and protests for International Women's Day and gender equality were encouraged 8 days after the first confirmed death by COVID-19.
Yes. Okay, next one. Who wants to try?
The seriousness of the virus was underestimated, and that caused that Spain failed to stockpile medical equipment.
Exactly, yes. So we identify the verb, and then we put the what that is after it at the beginning. The seriousness of the virus was underestimated. And that caused that Spain failed to stockpile medical equipment, tests, and protective gear. Okay. Here we have the sentences in passive voice and the exercise is to move them to active voice, to change them into active voice sentences. The first two, the second one is active. This one and this one is in passive, so we need to move them into active. If the sentence doesn't mention the doer, so we need to create a doer.
Teacher, do you remember that situation where it happened in Italy or Spain?
On March 10, all gatherings of more than 1,000 people were banned in cities. No, I don't remember.
Let's say that Spanish government
Okay, the Spanish government
banned all gatherings or more than dancing or gathering or more than 1,000 people on March 10th.
Yes. Okay, good. Next sentence.
CNN News filmed Spanish Prime Minister Pedro Sanchez greeting people with the customary two kisses on the cheek.
Uh-huh. Yes, so we just Mara just invented that it was filmed by CNN because we don't know who did it, who filmed it. We just have the verb. Okay. Now we have a sentence in active voice and we need to change it into passive. Who wants to try? We have two verbs.
Centralize and release.
Exactly. So we have two objects.
The sanitary response
Yes.
was centralized.
Uh-huh. And the other?
Um, and its biggest ever financial stimulus hoping was released to cushion the economic shock of the pandemic. Teacher, we can't
I hear
hear.
you. Microphone is off.
We can hear
Sorry,
you,
what is
teacher.
the question? What is the question? Okay, so I was telling you that we
No,
have,
we're just telling you that you have the microphone off.
yeah, so I was trying to tell you that maybe la respuesta sanitaria fue centralizada y el más
Yeah.
grande estímulo
Be-
financiero.
Because I imagine it's about the Spanish government.
Uh-huh.
Or,
That is the DUR, the Spanish government, but we are not going to mention it in the passive voice sentence. Or if we want to mention it, so we will use it at the end. Entonces la respuesta sanitaria fue centralizada y el más grande estímulo financiero que esperaba acolchonar el choque económico de la pandemia fue eh, fue lanzado, gracias, por el gobierno español. Okay, we finally have 3 sentences. To change them to a passive voice.
A coordinated approach.
Yes.
Coordinated approach wasn't adopted to the emergency by Italy.
A coordinated approach to the emergency. Okay, the next one.
The government issued is into active voice.
To move into active.
The government issued the first decree announcing the closing of northern Italy on March 8th.
Okay, and finally, to change it into active.
Both the public and many in policy circles met the initial state of emergency declarations by skepticism.
What's the idea in Spanish?
¿Conocías?
The subject is both the public and many policy circles.
The public and police and many police circles. Both.
I would add people, both people in public and many policy circles. ¿Y el verbo?
Met.
Exactly. Met what?
Met by skepticism?
Yes.
The initial state of emergency declarations.
Exactly. Las personas en los círculos públicos y políticos, de políticas públicas, fueron escépticas al inicio de las declaraciones de la emergencia. Okay. My suggestion is that you read as much as you like from different pages in the web, so that you learn more and that you practice. Because this was taken from real, you see, a real news, a real newspaper, real test. So this is are more complex, longer, and that makes it difficult to, for example, to do this exercise to change them into active or passive. But since you now understand what is the structure, so you can move to something more difficult, that is reading like authentic tests that you find in internet about any topic that you like, sports, uh, studies, anything. You have questions or you have suggestions for our future encounters?
No, teacher, I'm good with it.
Okay, email me if you like think about any topic you want me to review. You can email me and I will plan some exercises to review it. Okay.
Okay, teacher. Thank you.
Okay, teacher.
Thank you guys for your participation. Have a good
Okay.
night.
Thank you, teacher. Have a good
Thank
night.
Thank you,
Okay.
teacher. Bye.
Have a good
Bye-bye.
night.
Bye.
Bye.
Teacher.
Night.